Welcome to this video. Thank you so much for tuning in, sharing this now moment with myself and with one another, and with my dear friend and sister Candace. We're going to do a double bubble today and just kind of do some light language. Candace is having some sound difficulties with toning, but you might be doing some singing and light language. And the intention is kind of about bringing into unification what we've just been talking about, we might refer to as energy pixels. Do you want to go into that a little bit, Candace, again?
So we've just had massive solar flares. We're still having massive solar flares. We've
Mhm.
been getting a lot more energy, photons streaming through, particle bombardment, which causes us to feel and be discombobulated, scattered, um, and fries out our systems essentially. And that has all sorts of ramifications.
Mhm.
So we're coming
Both of our
together.
backs went out.
Yeah, we're coming together intentionally today to play with the energies. And in that play and in that sounding and surrender, we are intending um, that the particles and the energies help to reestablish, reorganize, restructure, reharmonize, and
Yeah.
then, yeah, creating
Yeah.
a nice equilibrium experience for us.
Yeah. The word that was coming through for me this morning and yesterday is equanimity, and
Mm,
just kind of finding that stability and balance to kind of bring everything into wholeness and oneness. Because we can feel really scattered and pulled in so many different directions, which can be really fun sometimes, and other times it can feel overwhelming and disorganized and disharmonious. So we're just kind of trying to
mhm.
find, I keep seeing that magnet, with the pulling together all the pieces of lead or pieces of, you know,
Ooh, that's a really good visualization, actually,
yeah,
to see in the center of yourself a magnet and to draw all the parts of yourself into your magnetic center, magnetic resonance. Um, mm,
so the toning and the light language and the singing is, like you said, playfulness. It helps us drop into our heart. It helps us to kind of balance out and feel less fried. And it helps us to feel that feeling of playfulness, lightheartedness, and right brain kind of just play. Helps everything to kind of shift into the center,
mhm.
into that feeling of,
Coherent.
yeah. I'll let you start if you want to.
Yeah. So just setting my intention within my heart, unity and oneness, which is perfect for today as the sun is in true sidereal, the sun is in gene Q2, unity, moving from disassociation to orientation to
Mhm.
unity. So
Yeah.
dia ta tu tu dia ta te do ya ta to te tai ti tau to ya u kia te kia ko aia tai te o ia ta ia te tia toi ta oe.
And guys, this is meant to be felt, so you can kind of sing along if you want to, or make your hand mudras, or whatever kind of comes through as you're feeling these energies, and just kind of allowing yourself to relax and breathe into it. Shikuye ma ku shine wa kuahene ke shiana kuaha ia shune. Kuni wa ia shine wa kuatine shu kuahana. I'm really recording. So we just had this epic tuning, toning, singing, light language, elemental, and I forgot to hit record. Or maybe I hit it twice. I think I hit it twice. So we're gonna have a do-over, which is funny. Reforming, redoing, but it's gonna be a little different. Candace, I want you to share though what you were just saying because you posted a picture. Will you share that with everyone? Because it's like, and I'm gonna tell you what I was seeing before you said that. This vision I keep having.
Okay, so I'll do my very best to bring this picture forward.
Yeah. Hold it. Yeah, there you go. Right there's perfect. So it's a heart. It's almost like a heart holding a universe full of like galaxies, but also stars. Mostly stars, little plasma bubbles. And what did you say about it falling through your hand?
So it looks as though in this picture, in my imagination, that it's like these tiny little pixels or these tiny little sparkles of sand or dust that is being held in a shape in the hand through intention. And that without that intention, without that heart coherence field, it would just fall through the hands. So it's our very intention that's holding it to make the shape to come
Mm.
together.
And I'm hearing intent, focus, intention. Um, and if I tune into that, it's a tent, it's a TP. We had this incredible flow on trees. I quite frankly, I don't really know if that got recorded or not. But one of the things that have been coming through, I kept having this vision, in those like, so what we're doing right now is we're just kind of in flow and we're playing and we're describing certain things that we've been intuitively channeling, tuning into, drawing, writing, whatever's coming through. And then, interpret it in whatever way you feel called to. But I kept seeing what's happening is let's picture ourselves. You ever watch those like Marvel comic movies or where you've got like the main spaceship and then all these little spaceships go out and it sends it all out and now we're calling them all back to the mothership. And it's like
Mhm.
we're pulling all of this energy back to us that we've sent out in this explosion and we're magnifying it back or magnetizing it back to us. And then we're kind of reabsorbing it and allowing it with this intention of coming back into unification and oneness. But all of those little pixels that we sent out are coming back to us with pictures, are coming back to us with things that are gathered, energy that was gathered. And now we have all of this. It's like we split into all these atoms, right? Or all these cells and photons, whatever we want to call it, bubbles. And now the bubbles are like conjoining and joining forces, and that's a play on words. The force, the intention, the hands, the fabric that holds everything together, so to speak. It's like this constant interaction, and we're essentially coming into unification with that constantly. But
Constantly, and our awareness is growing to help gather, to help create a greater intention, which is of a field that structures, a field that is so natural, and it is an organizing field. It
yeah.
assimilates, it self assimilates in a perfect harmony, even with the imperfections.
Mm,
Even you were in the flow, you were using the word incomplete and complete, but it's also
yeah.
like, there is a completion in the incomplete. And there's something about this time. And um, even though there's a lot that feels so scattered,
Mhm.
It's just like the calm in the storm that gathers the energy around itself, and in the center it is calm and stable and holding the moving parts and the moving particles.
Mm.
And so we're gathering, we're being called to gather together, and we're gathering so much more than we know, so much more
Mm.
than we know. I'm being shown the roots of all of our cultures that we feel are gone, scattered in the wind and dust like these particles. We're resur resurrecting these energies, and we thought we needed to dig physically outside to find them in the physical sand, but they come from here. All of the cultures and all the lineages and all of the languages, where did they arise from? They came
Mhm.
from here. And so as we loosen and allow for the energies to formulate themselves through our openness and our willingness to play and participate, they come into formulation,
Mm.
showing us our true origin
Mhm.
through us. Instead of seeing it outside of ourselves, it's
Mm.
coming through us.
Mhm. In expression.
Mhm.
Expression in form, expression in sound. I mean, we're kind of playing with this because we're going to do, I think we should go into another round of light language and sounds because that's kind of our intention of coming together. But what that did for us, and I think you're going to feel it, like we've been doing those sounds even though we weren't recording them. And what it does when you drop into that field, it creates a currency, it creates a current, it creates an energy, and that allows us to pull from the network that within the network of just like the internet, right? It's the internet, and we're bringing that up and we're stringing together string theory. We're stringing together all these unifying sounds that we can then pluck or pull from our own knowingness. And then when we're combining those frequencies, it allows for us to drop into, well, each other's field, so to speak. We can feel each other's field. We can listen and adapt and kind of play off one another. And to really break that down into a simpler way of thinking about it, we're interacting and communicating on an actually very basic level, elemental, right? You were kind of channeling some elemental sounds on an elemental level that just requires us to open. It just requires us to relax, and it just requires us to be playful and not over analyze every single letter, word, or geometry that's coming through, because that's what it is. It's a geometry of sound, right? That allows us to communicate a vision, or it allows us to communicate and envision through feeling, through I mean, we could play with this on and on and on, because vision isn't us just seeing with our eyes. It's envisioning and seeing more of who we really are and what we really are, and allowing that to just kind of come through, and it gives us that ability to feel more clarity and unification. And we're talking about toning, we're talking about light language, we're talking about just playing together.
Yeah. And as you were speaking, you said something, and I heard family tree, root of origin,
Mm.
origination, and also that's the reorientation from the original point of us, which is where we connect to the family tree,
Mm.
and the root races.
Hmm. And you said landline earlier.
Mm.
You were kind of playing with the landline, which I love because um, I always think about, well, the landline takes me into lots of visions because you think of a telephone, old school, right? It's not, it's old school. You're calling, you're connected to the source, you're connected directly in to that energy. And that is helping us to amplify and pull together those pixels. Because if you're not on a landline, you get a lot more interference, right? So now we're like landing it and we're like, all right, this is our line. This is our line, our direct connection to source.
Yeah, that we are resourcing. And just as you were saying, as you call in all those particles that were sent out, and you bring them back in to be digested, and they're things to unpack and to unfold. They have full experiences and full spectrum perspective and wisdoms and
Mhm.
meanings. And that is essentially what we're doing when we're doing light language and we're weaving. We're
Mhm.
drawing in the energies and the particles, and there's so much that comes through in the sound. Even if the sound is repeated, when sounds are repeated, they gain momentum. They gain om meant om. Om meant om.
Momentum.
They come
I've
with a
got
lot.
um
They're little zip files that
mhm,
are condensed into sound.
mhm. I was going to say packets of information. Pockets, packets, bubbles of information. When you're pulling back all those little tiny ships, it's like, oh, I'm going to open this package up. It's full. And this is full. And this is full. And if I'm putting it all into one, I become more of it's expansion essentially, opening up those zip files. Now we're kind of speaking in so many different, it's a very multidimensional way of looking at things. But I'd love to play more with the sounds. Do you want to kind of roll back into it and see if we can find our flow? Again, meant to be felt. Sing along if you want. Use your mudras if you want. This is interactive. And I'll let you kind of start, Candace, if you want.
So when you said find the flow, I heard you are the flow. I am the flow. Do, 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 do. No dai deo do, 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 do. Itai ui at ait it ot onat o. Iata 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 utai ti to to. Ia iot o. Ia ia o o o o. Ia e o ai o ai o ai o ai o. I e a o a o ai o ai o ai. Om. Om. Om.
Mm. And as we sound out these connections, as we combine our connections, our resources, as we allow ourselves to pull from this source that is within us, that is shared in this frequency exchange, in this playful exchange of information and sound, ometry, the tree, we begin to spread out our roots and branches. We begin to reconfigure, reconstruct, and allow ourselves to feel the depth from within these sound signatures, within these fonts, within these different voices of energy. And we weave together different ports, different systems. We import from one another all that is available to us within us, sung from the depths of our center, our source, our core sound comes through in a myriad of differing tones, tonalities, and light. I'm hearing tinklings. 树叶给我嘿诶那开，一西起开那那哭， ku shiwa a iniya ku tishi titike kayeno ku tu shiwa iniki me some. While some may sound incomplete. I'm going back to the flow we were in earlier. As they sound out, they resonate with completeness. They resonate with the complete frequency, for they come full, in full. They come from in fullness and are birthed from the voice of that which we are. Tushi wa kini kiki, tiki ku kuaha ishine bak ane wahat ishi, tiku makuaha nini shien kua. Tuawahana.
Kia kea no naini ana wa 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 wo 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 wo. Ia tai te to tai to tai to. Aia haina uane uana o ano ane hea ua hea hea hea. Uko kokwana tiete ata do utaratare andi ushatara ukwan kia kuana ya 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 oh oh Iha e o e o e o e o e o e o Iat ai iat o ukwak at idid or ar ayat ayat ai ust or and ort at akt ed ort ar ar ast art i Iu, iu, iu. Om. Au, iu, iu.
You keep breaking the sound barrier. Kia woshi titi tiku mahai iwa shu kunu kahe ni mkoa. Diara sture umkore stere rane kiare. Ki ne o no kae om. Yamo ya ya Yamo nea ya wakaya shiae. Kua wahe ene meme he shi kukuha neneke. Dishu ane amo. Tishu kumaka tur stera hak ur. Beti tishti nakar stera hak ur sti ti 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 ti. Dishu ku mehe tita ne no aha ishu. Ishu kuni kikai I ne uku ne eshi ku mahai. Neo ku titi mon ku ai ne ku e ti au ku mo ne ai. No no yo mo ku yo ya ne au ya I mo e shao ne o ai. No mo yo ai am. Kia ua e ue ne au ni ua e ian. Ti ao e kua o hei ma kua e u shiao au ne o. Kishi makuha. Iti tiku ma e ti shu akua niaha.
Koto yana uto yana ye o Ia he ha, ia he a ho ai, iha le ana uko e ana. Oh, e hi ha o, he ia o, a he ia o, he ia o, he ia o. Ayede ho doa de doa doa de doa do odo odo de da di da do di dan do de dan da de dan o and I indo India yorandai heti orandi anda horo horo horai Ururarandai, arahirira waranda, itare edit ur irianda ha ap ara oran ayat oyahana ay i. Ishashon shorora ala ayan aland aros ork ayat i. Ishtastorand i arat or arat ay ayan ayat urk urut uras arat id urendendayat. I turut och arand oret stad torut totorat tatorat te. Shoo!
So, mm, ne kikai ishima tete ku kuehene kikai I akashima ene kikai umoaha ishishikini. Our ancestors spoke in many ways, and our ancestors will speak in many ways that we are not necessarily accustomed to. Play on words. For as we change our customs, as we recognize the old customs, as we become accustomed to the new that is within Anu, ANU, within you, me and you, we become more clear. We hear with more clarity. We communicate and we weave together with more freedom, with more shuriaha titiki shikai inikikai umo titi kuaha shiene. We allow ourselves to express through the variation of complex and simplification, through sound and song, open communication of words and dialect that is actually felt within the human template, that is moving through the bodily crystalline structure, the energy that we are singing forward, forth, out of us, coming up from us, is able to then be resourced, gathered, and played with. Ya kushini makayene tititi shikuha niniki niao ate shiku ate wai duku nishuku ate omoakai Tiku mae shenea kone du shuete. Tiku sterehet ele kun hele anna karahaste. Dile anno kore stereheste sturo o kuruste nekirea. Di stirehi tiku bare sturehet ene kire sture ene ti stit kiterahatur pakara. Tishu koko aha neki kai neki keo tate shu ta ne hekako neshiwa. Tikua te shikai kuanea te kuashini kaiene te she. Ti nakushdu mua be ti shikine ti shihuahane. And it goes on and on and on in infinite composition. Mm. We seem to be having some technical difficulties today, which I didn't think we would have with my fabulous captain's microphone. We are now having some unexpected turbulence. Go for it. So Candace is going to read some charts.
So just going around the chart of today, I'm just reading from the Gene Key chart. It gives little energies that you can play with in word form. So looking at the lower level of reality right now, I'm going to read the shadow frequencies of some of the energies that we may be feeling in the collective. So disassociation, for
Huh.
one, the sun would be illuminating disassociation and entropy, which is
Mm-hmm.
like decay and falling apart. And so we're working on our disassociation, moving it into orientation and unity. The challenger of this would be entropy. So you're working on disassociation while things are falling apart, or they're feeling like they're falling apart into entropy. And the objective is to get into freshness, which is to get into original feeling, original essence. What can I do with these broken pieces? What can I do with these scattered pixels? What
Mm-hmm.
can I do with the remnants of sound and the remnants of time and ideas? And how can I refresh them? How
Mm-hmm.
can I press the refresh button and send it and gather it all into a new picture that I can see, that I can understand? And in the sphere of like what lights us up.
Wait, just a second. 2 seconds, please. So the light.
Okay, so in what lights us up, and I believe that that's like where the earth is at right now.
Mm.
We're moving from discord into discernment and empathy. So
I'm
instead
just
of
laughing right now. I'm always laughing, but whenever we play, I laugh.
yeah,
Everything that you're saying, and not to interrupt, but I'm gonna post maybe tomorrow. No, I'll post on Sunday. I recorded this morning, and a lot of the words that you're using are exactly what I've been channeling about, or just my guides have been sharing with me. So it's kind of always, our synchronicities always boggle my mind, even though I don't know at this point why. Still,
like, is there an echo in here?
it's so funny. But anyways, continue. But I wanted to just kind of interject on that with the entropy to neg entropy, all the things that Dan Winter is always talking about, right? And also, what lights us up is our playfulness that we were talking about. And sound helps to liven us up. It makes us feel good when we dance and we make music and we tell stories with our voices.
Mhm.
Not for everyone, but for a lot of us, it just brings us a sense of lightheartedness. And that lightheartedness is moving out of entropy into neg entropy with what you said a minute ago. So please carry on.
And so, to roll off of that, so entropy goes into freshness, which is
Mm.
that reinvigoration and that resurrection of the energy into beauty, which is the
Ah,
rose, which is down
ah.
into rose, bliss charge, implosion, fractal field of absolute harmony and coherence. And that is creating an eternal song. So
Mm.
once you create those eternal songs, that is a living song now. That song lives, it's alive. It is going to be singing in the universe,
That's the
singing
lineage you were seeing.
the, those are the eternal sound harmonics that we've already sung into place.
Song
And
lines.
singing from a time that didn't have the structures that we have now, the songs that we hear that are like um that are so structured, and it's like, this is how you write the chorus, this is the hook, this is the line, this is the way. Well, the eternal songs and the immortal songs that were sung into the ley lines, into the magnetics, into the stones that hold the memory, they
Mm-hmm.
don't sound the same as the songs that we sing today. So when we bring them up, they might feel and sound really different than what we're used to hearing.
Mm-hmm.
But there is an importance in singing them,
Mm-hmm.
because when you sing them, you draw in the ancestors that you are one with. You draw in the pieces of the puzzle that you feel are missing. So you're calling them all in and you're calling them home. You're calling all the parts of you home. Um, and you're co-weaving with and I'm hearing the word embedded.
Mhm.
These sound signatures that are already embedded, they're
Mhm.
already imbued. They have made it through the process of through the death cycle.
Mhm.
They've which you could see as another seed, right? After the seed of that life, they've burst forth the song of their soul.
When
Uh,
you said data points, and I thought of the seeds and the dandelion spin that we were on a long time ago, but also that picture you drew, Candace drew a picture. I said, I'm going to change keep it simple star seeds to keep it simple star flowers. And you had just drawn the flower with all the seeds around it. It looked like seeds and little bubbles. And when you were saying embedded, the words that came through for me were data points. I just heard data points. So I just quickly looked up data points and it says data points are the building blocks of data visualization, data visualization. They provide the underlying information represented visually through charts, graphs, maps, and other visual elements. They are plotted on the axis of a chart or graph, allowing patterns, trends, and relationships to be easily understood and communicated. And I think this ties in with what you're talking about with where we were earlier, the cross. We're at an axis. You're talking about the gene keys and the point that we're at right now. And it's allowing all these data points to come together. And when we sing these songs, it actually can create a visualization at times as well. And it allows us to communicate through those. I don't just see it as visualization, I see it as the sound behind the sound. It's like that hand that you showed earlier that's holding all of these bubbles, all of these data points are um that's the fabric.
and I was hearing when you were speaking cross
Yeah.
stitching, um,
Crosshatch.
yeah, crosshatch, and cross hairs, and then we go with the hairs and the hairs and the hairs and the hairs. Oh my goodness. Um,
When she's talking about hairs, she's talking about the three hairs,
rabbits. And then I'm
the
also
rabbits.
talking about the filaments on all life. And you can find telomeres, you can find all the tiny little hair filaments and the very, very tiny parts of your being that are
Uh,
all living and tingling. And when somebody says something and your hair stands up on the back of your, so there's something needing to get back to. What was it? The sounds when we bring them through, again talking about these immortal sounds that have crossed the death threshold, that realize that they're still existing.
mm,
um, when we sing the sounds, it is a zip file again, right, that has the memory in there, and we don't necessarily remember it the way that we would think in a linear way, but it's unfolding and unpacking itself within our feeling body. And so we can see through our feelings, we can hear through our feelings. Our sensorial apparatus as a human being is one of the most sophisticated creations in the universe. And
mhm,
we haven't known how to operate it. And we're singing the sounds of the ones who did.
mhm,
And they found a way and they knew and they were a living way and a living embodiment of such interconnectivity and such knowingness that they didn't need words like no, like I
mhm,
know. They didn't need to say I know because they all knew they knew, and they would know together and they would co-know.
yeah.
And a lot of the memories that come back when I sing these songs is I remember thinking as a tribe. I
Mhm,
actually remember having like a collective tribal brain
mhm,
where you're all facilitating parts of an organism that is your tribe. Your tribe is one organism.
mhm,
You don't think I'm going to build this over here because it would be great for me. You would not even think that way. That's not a thing.
mm,
The health of the tribe is the health of you. They are your outer organ system, and you have your inner organ system, and we're working as a harmonious one. And there were different parts of that, external parts that were so intimately woven into your internal parts that it was I am tribe. And so other tribes weren't other people. They were other organisms. They were
Yeah.
other cells of humans that were working in oneness. So the tribe would generally all think in the same note or frequency.
Mhm. Which is coherence.
Yes. So there was a scattering, if you will, from tribe to individual, and we are part of the calling back in. Now that we've all broken apart, now and we've had really incredible experiences, there is a call back into a new tribal coherence but it is new. It will never be the same again, but it is being renewed, and it
Mhm.
is time to act as tribe again in a sense. So when we sing these songs, there's so much support. There's so much when we sing the songs and we sing the sounds from our own heart and being, and we hum, just humming. It
Mhm.
doesn't have to be, the singing of old was so simplistic, but yet so there's so much meaning in the feeling of
Mhm.
a oh yeah. Just go through the vowel sounds and feel the sounds of that your body produces, and let
Mhm.
that take you on a feeling journey in through the sediment of your own being, in through the layers of time, in through the layers of experience. And
Mhm.
in that following the feeling, something is unwinding, something
Mhm.
is releasing, something is relaxing and opening and softening and creating the the perfect grounds, you know, the perfect soil
Mhm.
for the embedding. And the embedding is the planting, and the planting is crucial. If you want a seed to grow, you must plant it, you must ground in, and you must nourish.
Mhm.
And so we set the space of ourselves in openness, and
Yeah.
then flow into the movements, and we let the sound carry us, and we let the feelings teach us in real time. There's no time to think about it. There's
Yeah.
no thinking about it.
I'm gonna pause for a second. No time. No time to think. Hold on. Yeah. No time. I loved how you said no time to think because as you're saying this, it's like you can think when you're making these sounds, for instance, or when we're just toning, but it almost feels so good. You don't want to. It just why? It's almost too much work.
Mhm.
It's like just be. And when you said tribe, I was seeing try be. Like try just being, but also try is the three. The seed of life kind of thing. That be in the middle of that circle of the three hairs. It's another example of three hairs, the tribe, just being in that space. I love what you're saying. It's beautiful. And, I still always see the sound is coming from this fabric. And, you and I channel, and when we channel, a lot of people channel some of the original languages that come through that I have yet to share really what is being shared with me are those vowels, right? The vowels, the deep, low, and I hear the platonic, right? Those elemental sounds where language originated from. And it goes back to what we were saying in the beginning, the origination, the
Mhm.
point which everything comes out from.
When you said plutonic, I was um, plume, plume tonic,
Yeah.
plumes of tones.
Yeah. And I hear playtonic, like playing is tonic. It's soothing. It soothes the senses.
And we're playing ourselves, right? Because we're an instrument, we're a living instrument of creation, and we are playing the tune that we know. We don't know this tune, we know it. It
Yeah.
just comes forth, and so we relax and we release the hold, and so that we can behold what it is that we are truly holding in our
I think
heart.
it's valuable that you said that too, because when you say all of that, if you just drop in and get silly and allow these sounds to come through, you said it's the hold. It's like you release the hold of our tension, whatever's been holding us back. We can let go of judgment of what it sounds like. We can let go of what it necessarily means. Although I will say we have words that come through too in English to tell us what this means. But because sometimes these sounds are just packets, zip files that have much more.
Of the essence of the one of from where we're tapping into those sounds.
Yeah.
So the sound comes with that deep memory feeling of the personalities that wove those those notes,
Mm-hmm.
seeing them like they created those threads. And when we access that, we access the whole identity code of that signature, and we get to borrow borrow as we burrow. Now I'm getting a flashback of when you were talking about customs, different costumes,
Yeah.
different costumes. And I'm seeing someone come and put their coat around you because you're cold. It's like, here, take mine, warm yourself up, rub on the back. It's like we're getting an embrace from another time. We're getting an embrace from another self, another I am. Um, that in Lakesh Alakin, I am, you are another myself. I am another yourself. And so, yeah, we're calling in the ancestors that we are one with, as they were and are placeholders. They're holding a place, they're holding a page in the book in time. And so when we access those sounds, we're opening that book from where they left off, from where they still have their finger on that in that chapter. It's a living book.
I was
It's
just gonna say it's a phone book, like the landline. For those of you who might be old enough to remember phone books, there used to be a phone book with everybody's number in it, and you would pick up your landline and you could just go through and dial that number.
yeah. And there's something about our DNA, in the DNA sequence of our soul that is so nonlinear, even and so nonlinear. So we access in a nonlinear fashion the lineages,
Yeah.
and also linear ear, lend your ear, linear, line ear, lines. Um, the linear and it connect an ear is in heart. So it's like connecting your ear and your heart, and you're making that call.
Mhm.
And the call is a portal.
Yep.
And it is connecting that web, that great web of life that is infinitely inward and infinitely outward through all nows, through all nows. So I'll go back here for a moment. So what lights us up is empathy.
Mhm.
What lights us up is empathy. So we're moving from discord into discernment, into empathy. And that is what is lighting us up right now as humans. And our purpose together in life is to move from division,
Mm.
right? To move from division, being divided, being pixelated, being scattered as a people, right? The tribes were scattered and individualized. Now we're
Mhm.
coming into guidance. So the
Mm.
internal guidance is bringing us from division into guidance. So we're still divided, but we're being guided all together as one from within the one point that we are all one with. So it's like the tribe can still be separated with space, but it's being guided from that place within that unifies us
Mhm.
and brings us into virtue. So from
Mm.
division to virtue, our purpose is to find that guidance. And
Mm.
virtue also kind of is virtual reality.
Yeah. I was just thinking about that. I was going back to the data points.
Yeah. So bring the virtue into virtual reality, and virtual reality is forming tribes as well. We are becoming tribal online. We're finding our tribes online. We're finding our little niches online, and we're actually like becoming these little organisms together online as we group together. And
Um,
if we look at the attraction sphere of the planet right now, it's like from what level are we attracting? Are we attracting from the level of interference? Or interference? Are we interfering? Are we being interfered with? Or are we coming into teamwork?
and
And
I
instead
hear, are we entering fear? Are we afraid?
yes, which will, if we're in fear, we can't hear the guidance. If we're in fear, we're being ruled by fear, we can't operate out of discernment. We're in entropy. We can't access the freshness to revive and revitalize ourselves and one another. And we're in disassociation.
Mm,
So we want to come together. So what is the answer? Moving into teamwork,
mhm,
and from teamwork to synarchy. So we don't have to come and live together close knit as a tribe, but we can be and know we are a tribe of humanity as the one umbrella, the rainbow banner, and work. That's the network, right? That you're picking up
yeah,
on the network. That's the rainbow network
yeah,
that's through. And if I look at the culture sphere real quick, that talks about our work in the world,
mhm,
from agitation into taking initiative and awakening. It's the awakening.
mhm,
The agitation leads to the awakening.
mhm,
So all of this energy that the sun is giving us, that is causing pixelation, that is causing agitation, that is causing the need for reorientation, because first it disassociates and scatters and divides,
mhm,
and then
yeah,
then we're getting it back together, but in a more aware way.
mhm,
When we're uncomfortable, it brings us into all of the vulnerable parts, and we look at things more closely that we may have overlooked, and we have an opportunity to reset.
yeah. When you said agitation, I was thinking of when you wash your clothes to get the dirt out, it agitates it, and that's the particles are released and then absorbed and dissolved into the water. And oh my gosh, that could be a whole other video, but
That board
mhm,
that you stand on that
yeah.
wiggles you, right?
Yeah.
That wiggles you into place.
It's creating circulation is really what it's doing. And it's allowing all of
Reinvigorating.
that stuck energy to move and flow. And it's this ebb and flow that we're constantly kind of going in and out of, and it's contraction and expansion. And we've expanded, and now all this information, we're gathering it back in, we're absorbing it, and we're taking what we learned and we're digesting. And some of it we've decided that, isn't what I mean, it doesn't matter, it's all usable. Nothing
Hmm.
is wasted.
It's all being recomposed, and we're asking to recreate from a greater place. And that greater place is paying attention to details, not getting lost in the details,
Uh-huh.
but paying attention to the subtleties.
The synchronicities too, that's the details. You
So in
said
the
virtue. When you said virtue, and I looked it up, sorry, I just found this kind of interesting. I didn't know this, but in traditional Christian angelology, am I saying it right? The seventh highest order of the ninefold celestial hierarchy. There's something fun with the numbers 7 and 9, 9 and 7, and that,
that is Gene Key 7. The virtue one that you're talking about is Gene Key 7.
okay, that could be kind of fun to play with.
Oh, I should just open my book. I've got it right here.
Yeah. Because I looked at that, and that's where, I always look at where my eyes are kind of drawn to. And virtue stuck out because I was like, okay, well, what does virtue really mean? And of course, they're talking about the good or useful quality of a thing. morally good or desirable. But then it says, um, in angelology, the seventh highest order of the ninefold celestial hierarchy. And what's interesting, if you go into that, it actually goes into, well, ninefold, which I just love playing with, and seven. And it also goes into celestial.
Mhm. That to me speaks to all our parts.
Mm-hmm.
I like to work with the internal family systems. That's my internal parts, but I feel like we have internal, external parts, and multidimensional parts. So I take parts work into all levels of awareness, and you get to the celestial,
Mm-hmm.
you get to the interdimensional.
Mm-hmm.
There's dimensional and there's interdimensional.
Mm-hmm.
There's layers upon layers upon layers, and we can touch all of those layers with sound harmonics.
Mm-hmm.
Sound is one of the common denominators of creation that resonates with everything because everything is sound.
And the word was one.
Yes, that's right. And words become worlds.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to pause just for a second. Carry on.
All right, so I'll just quickly go through the rest of the chart here. So the mind field of the planet right now is also in Gene Key 2, which is moving from disassociation, scattered mind, into orientation, into unity. Unified mind, think left and right hemisphere working together with the pineal, creating that trinistic frame of perspective.
Mm.
And in our emotional body, where we have Gene Key 25, which is moving from constriction, feeling stuck and tight and clamped, into acceptance, which creates space. And
Mm-hmm.
once we accept it, the grip lessens. And after we fully accept all things, we open and soften enough, and it's universal love.
Yeah.
P25, universal love. And the programming partner of Gene Key 25 is Gene Key 46, which is the key of seriousness. So if we're too serious, we constrict. We
Yeah.
can walk around. So moving into the heart field of humanity, we're moving from
Mm-hmm.
psychosis of the heart into inspiration. So feeling like crazy in love, or crazy for love, um, crazy in general for feeling, into being inspired by all life,
Mm-hmm.
letting everything inspire you, even the negative, even the distortion and the discord. How is it inspiring us? And if we really tap into that inspiration and allow it to inform us, and that is our modus operandi, then we become a sanctuary essentially.
Yeah.
Uh, so in the heart is sanctity, is the holy of holies right now for humanity.
Mm.
Just saying that this is the doorway. This is the doorway to the kingdom of heaven, essentially. And if you live from here, you'll create from here, and you'll see from here, and you'll be from here. You'll
Mm-hmm.
sing and walk and know and create. And this
That
is
is
what I
the
feel.
celestial body.
Yeah, I feel like this is what Gene Key 7 is saying. We need to be guided from this, and then we become virtuous. Then
Mm-hmm.
our actions and our deeds and our creations are a virtue.
Yeah.
And then, so lastly, our greatest challenge is greed. As
Cool.
humanity right now, our greatest challenge is greed.
Mm-hmm.
So moving from greed into higher aspirations than just mine, which is what the tribes, when the tribes were one, they were thinking for the group, but it was still mine. If you compared it to like another tribe coming in, they would be like mine,
Mm-hmm.
they would kind of, okay, well, let's make a peace deal. I'll give you my daughter. We'll marry and we'll become one cell. Now the tribes have joined, we're a cell. but they're still thinking semi-greedily,
Mhm.
in an innocent way, against
And
other tribes.
survival.
Yeah, still survival mode, not as one human tribe.
Mhm.
So this level of greed as our challenger, as our biggest wound here, actually, our biggest wound is found here. Um, as we follow that all the way atop to the top, we get ascension. We're ascending through the ranks of this energy, take really understanding where greed comes from, really understanding greed survival mode. What does that really truly mean? It just means that I love my life and I love
Mhm.
my tribe and I want us to be okay. And so if we really take that to the highest level, we ascend our understanding, and in that ascension it becomes our greatest gift, traversing from the level of greed all the way up, growing it all the way up. And what does that offer society? It's, we already spoke of this, society is in the key of awakening right now, from agitation to taking initiative, moving into awakening. And the pearl of humanity is selflessness. The
Oh,
pearl of humanity, the great reward and
ironic
harvest.
because greed is selfish,
Yeah,
selfish desire. Sorry, I was playing with that while you were talking. I was looking that up.
it's correct. And the pearl, it's like, so what's the point of all that we've been speaking of within this chart, is to move from selfishness into altruism, into selflessness. And so this is telling a story to me today of us individually coming from the base, from the lower levels of our awareness into the heart together as one. No matter where we are, we're all coming in together to grow up and to branch into this next level of cooperation, of
Mhm.
teamwork and synarchy.
Mhm. I love it.
Mm.
I also wanted to kind of mention briefly that greed has to do with hunger. Hunger to me is survival.
And that's Jinky 27. That's the pearl. That's the altruism.
Mm,
Selfish is, we need to eat. I need to think about the tribe. I need to think about, sorry, I can't, no, it's
mine.
for them. Yeah. And that is really about food,
Yeah.
um, resources. So we could probably look
Resource.
at the world stage right now and see all of the attention being drawn to food and to
Mhm.
commodity. I know there's a lot of awareness right now about the quality of our food, and that which sustains us is also that which connects us all.
Yeah. Earlier you had said that, and I thought of that. What was the word you used? To produce. And I don't know if we ended up recording that part,
I
but
don't
you were
think
talking about producing something, and I was hearing produce. Like you buy from the store, your produce, your what sustains you, what feeds you. So it's ironic. I see this connection about energetically um, some of the fears that are coming up in the field right now, and it really does come from, you know, survival. So, so we're gonna kind of end on that note. Thank you so much for sharing those Gene Keys readings, Candace. Um, they're amazing. They're really fun to talk about. I just always mind boggled when you tell me what gene key we're in, and I'm like, gosh, that makes so much sense. So I hope you guys had fun listening to our fun sounds and just kind of feeling into the energy that we like to play with and share when we come together and when we come together with each other and we come together with you guys. So thank you so much for, if you lasted this long, congratulations. Thank you, Candace.
you so much
Yeah.
fun.
We'll see you guys. We'll see you all soon. Namaste.